I'm Jenna, I'm an alcoholic.
Hi, Jane.
Very, very grateful to be here. Thanks, Wendy, for asking me to come and share. What it was like. I always said it was my version of living hell. I believed for 28 years I was all on my own. I didn't believe that I had anybody who kind of valued me, or I believed I was on my own. It was kind of Jenna against the world. I thought I had a lot of friends and a lot of support. I didn't think I had support. I thought I had a lot of friends, but really it was multiple groups of friends that I used to bounce around, because I used to kind of cover up my drinking and my using, and as soon as anybody kind of thought something was wrong with it or realized something wasn't too great, I would just hop to the next group, and keep sort of juggling between all of them. So when I got to the end, just kind of started back at the beginning, and we haven't seen you in ages, and all was fine. My family, I didn't have much of a relationship with my family at all. I believe that my mother didn't understand me at all, because she didn't understand why her 15, 16-year-old daughter lived in clubs and bars, and I believed she hated me. My dad had moved to Johannesburg when I was in junior school, and I cut him off when he moved. I believed that if he really loved us, he wouldn't have done that. And it was only through doing my step 5 that I kind of saw all the madness in all of that, and that wow, the support system I've got in my family is incredible. Started drinking when I was at the beginning of high school. I had a group of friends that they all had older brothers, and so there was a lot of the older crowd with them. I never really felt like I fitted in with them, and I fabricated a lot of stories to try and make myself feel a part of. A couple of them I got away with. The last one, which was probably one of the biggest ones, I didn't. I got caught out, and I remember getting a phone call saying, me out of everybody, it was a friend that I'd been with, friends with since preschool, and she couldn't understand why I had lied, and instead of trying to explain anything, which in all honesty at that stage I probably couldn't have identified what I was feeling or anything, I just, my response was, Lauren, I'm on drugs. I had never touched a drug before. I was drinking, but so that was right before I even started using anything. That was kind of my go-to and my excuse for everything. I could never take responsibility. It was always somebody else or something else's fault. Anyway, that group of friends, then that all escalated, and I told everybody how bullied I was because they were telling everybody I was on drugs. I completely, just about from the next day, missed the whole point that is what I told them. And again, right up until I did my step 5, I believed I was bullied out of that particular high school. And I moved schools. I never really connected with anybody from the second school I went to. I stuck to my friends out of school. Who also, looking at now, I didn't really have one proper group of friends that were out of school. I bounced around. I remember manipulating or trying to quite a few of them with woe is me stories about my family and how things were at school. To, you know, if they had sympathy, maybe they'd be friends with me and all that kind of stuff. So that's how I kind of built friendships. Yeah, it was like, I don't think I have to sit here and tell you how much I used or drank. I think we all pretty much get that. It was after school. I found a very special friend. I didn't realize that at a later stage they were going to change my life. And for years, they kind of, our behavior was so, well, they ended up in treatment, but our behavior was so similar that if we stuck together, nobody else's opinions mattered, we justified each other's behavior. It was fantastic. There was, sorry, I've missed out a part, I don't know how to link it all back in, but I'd stolen a huge amount of money from work. My mum was quite a big enabler of mine. Yeah, I'd stolen money from work and I knew I was going to get caught. And within half an hour, my mum had paid that money back. And that's how I got away with a lot of what I got away with, was that my mum kind of, she helped me cover everything up. She still doesn't believe that I need to be here. And that's okay. I don't need her to, because I know I need to be here. And I don't want to live with the person that I was before I was here. Anyway, fast forward back to the friend that I met, and it was all great because we justified each other's behavior. Slowly, people started to pick up a little bit more that things weren't okay with me. I really did like to think that I covered it up quite well, but in the end, yeah, I don't think I did such a great job. And they ended up coming into treatment. When they came into treatment, that was sort of my first experience of this program. And I religiously, every Sunday, came to visit. And part of it was great, because people thought I was a superhero. You know, I used to go back home and it was, you're such a good friend and you're such a good person and blah, 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 which was fantastic. Great affirmation. But that wasn't the truth at all. The truth was that I had all selfish motives for coming to visit. Because when I was visiting in that treatment center, there were people there that had something that I wanted, and there was a peace about them and a realness about them and a realness about our conversations that I couldn't have at all with anybody else. So yeah, I plodded along as Jenna, the supporter, for a good few months. And then, yeah, friend came home from treatment, and I kept going to meetings, just here and there, because like it was fun. It was almost like a little bit social. It was, and like it was people that I wanted to be friends with, and like I started to get things out of the meetings, but like. Yeah, by then I'd tried really hard to stop drinking and using, which was only, yeah, I only managed to do that to a certain point. There were weekends that I'd sort of, you know, go visit those old friends that I haven't seen for 10 years because they don't know what else is going on and nobody else knows them. So, great to go on a little binge with them. And I had started using prescription medication. It was the easiest to hide. My life seemed on the outside altogether. I never lost a house, I never lost a job, I never lost a car, or any of the outside stuff. So, me in my with my meds in my room was, nobody knew about it or thought anything of it. Anyway, so I kept, I came to meetings. I had my last binge and I had a week of shame and guilt like I'd never had before. I don't know what happened. I don't know. I can only leave that as a higher power moment. And I went to a Friday night meeting, and you know how they say, don't look at the differences, look at the similarities. I think that meeting was one of the first that I had really done that. Or kind of like picked up a need, like that I needed to start doing that kind of stuff. Anyway, it was somebody's story that was completely different to mine. They had lived in a park, very, very different journey, but something hit home. And I remember I got home that night, and I always say it was a luxury that I lived with somebody that had been in treatment, because I'd been exposed to what all goes on, and I did what I had heard people did, and I went home and I got on my knees and I prayed, and I have no idea who I prayed to that night. I just knew that was what I needed to do. The next day I was ready to jump right in. I wanted a step working guide and I was going to start the steps, and I still remember my flatmate got out the car at work, and I was terrified. I would be told that I didn't qualify to be here. I was terrified. I was terrified that, I had 150 different reasons on why I would be told that I didn't need to be here. And so anyway, as he was getting out the car, just before he closed the door, I said to him, where can I get a step working guide from? I want to start the steps. I think I need to. And he just kind of, wow. I think you need to phone somebody from the fellowship, phone a girl, and okay, bye. And he sort of closed the door. So that's what I did. And that was kind of the start of the everything's going to be okays, and the everything going to be okays that really hit home. I remember being terrified and phoning her and phoning somebody that I knew, and all she said to me, she didn't try and, I made sure that I hung around friends that kind of excused my behavior in the past, and it was the first time that I didn't want somebody to say, don't worry, it's not that bad. And all she did was say, okay, do you want to come to a meeting? There's one at 3:00 and I'll meet you there, just like that. So I went to my first meeting as an addict, and wow. After that, it's all just kind of, I never knew that it would ever be like this. I never dreamed that it was possible. I didn't think people really lived like this. I thought it was a little bit fake, to be honest. I was like, there's no ways people can be that happy, and there's no ways that people can really be so at peace with life and themselves. So I did. I went to my meeting. I then got a sponsor. I also remember that being one of the most terrifying phone calls I ever made. It was somebody that I had met at the treatment center when I dropped my flatmate off as Jenna, the supporter. And I remember it was just kind of all this jumble on the phone, and I didn't really know how to ask for help. And I remember her saying to me, if you need help, it's okay, I can help, and it's going to be okay. And wow, I still like get emotional about that conversation because it was just like it changed my life. And I got stuck into steps, and I did my 90 meetings in 90 days, or just about, I did 87 in 90 days. And in the first few weeks, it was like all exciting, and it was, okay, I can do this, and you kind of get to 2-3 weeks, and I was kind of like, oh, like I wanted to be here, but like the 90 meetings in 90 days, like really? And somebody said to me, and it was within a few days of me thinking that, and somebody just said to me, you know, Jenna, you think it's all madness. You think it's madness to have to phone a sponsor every day. You think it's madness to go to 90 meetings in 90 days and do your step work and everything else that's suggested to you. But if you look at the madness that was going on in your life before, like, is it really that hard? And is it really that bad? So anyway, that gave me a whole new perspective on everything. And so I've done my meetings, got stuck into my step work. I've used my sponsor a lot. In the beginning, I was incapable of having a conversation. I remember the dear flatmate, we'd have a conversation, and the conversations weren't pretty. He had just come out of treatment, and I had just come into recovery, and it was hard. He'd say something to me, and I'd kind of run upstairs and tell my sponsor, and then I'd sit and I'd wait for her to send a voice note back or a message back, and I'd run downstairs and I'd sort of just repeat exactly what she said. Because I was incapable of dealing with anything. And I did that right from flatmate to work to conversations with my mum. And wow, it's been an incredible journey. The gifts, the relationships with my family. This program's giving me my dignity back, just amongst everything, and like, wow. I didn't know what it was like to live with even a little bit of dignity, to be honest. The friendships it's given to me are real. It blows my mind. Sure. I think I'm going to close off there before I launch into a ramble.
Thanks, Jen.
So, thanks for letting me share.
Share is not a
No, I'm done.